in UiTM, there's this thing called propens, and propens does sometimes a lecturer will join our class and to see whether the class is observing the PNP, pembelajaran pengajaran, properly or not. So that's why it's best for you to turn on your camera. Okay, so we will continue with our lecture. Previously, we ended our class at definition of energy manager. So I've explained to you what is, or who can be the energy manager. And now we'll see the responsibilities of the energy manager. So if you has been appointed as the energy manager for your company, so what is your responsibilities? Now, being an energy manager, again, like I said, you can be dedicated person like this, or a what you call that, sub responsibilities lah. You can assign to all an existing staff. But if we go through the slides, you understand that it is much better that the energy manager, either one, if he or she is a dedicated person, there should be a team. And if he or she is an existing person in the organization, he or she needs also a team, but a much bigger team, because as we go along, energy manager punya job scope is really huge sebenarnya, and it's continuous. It's not one off, maybe 1 month a year. No, it's continuous from end to end. He or she needs to cover the scopes. So yeah, if the company is quite, orang kata, money constraint, tak boleh nak hire orang luar, so kena work together lah. Janganlah seorang-seorang, biarkan dia seorang-seorang buat. Maksudnya macam contoh macam ni, plant manager is the energy manager. So it's not good lah, unless of course if the problem that you want to solve is just one particular machine, then yes, you can assign just one the plant manager himself as the energy manager. But if you're talking about the whole organization to participate in energy management program, meaning you want to reduce costs not only on the machine but also on the building, the office building, the warehouse or whatever. So the teams need to be bigger lah. So in that case, it is advised that not only plant manager but also the finance, HR, accounting, law, whatever level manager they are there. All of them should be appointed as also as an energy manager. So it's not fair lah kalau plant manager seorang je yang buat, padahal awak nak save the whole building kan. Okay. So these are the pillars, the 6 pillars. Okay, first we define dulu what is the responsibility. It is basically for an energy manager, the general theme is that he or she needs to lead and also drive towards continual and sustainable energy management activity in that organization. So the keyword here is he or she need to lead and drive, and then continual and sustain. So it's a bit tiring punya job scope lah kalau seorang yang buat. So that's why they need to have a team. And basically that energy manager falls under 6 pillars that he or she needs to observe, which is first, these are the steps lah, basically the guidance. First thing first, you need to establish is the energy management policy. And then once you have that policy, you have to get the commitment of all stakeholders. Sorry. For stakeholders, the meaning isn't about board of director only, but the whole organization, from top to the lowest of the bottom, even the cleaner pun, you have to get their commitment to this energy management, because there are, for example, you are trying to solve your office building punya energy. So typically during night, your boss dah tak ada, your colleagues dah tak ada, your manager semua dah tak ada, even your operator pun dah tak ada dah, yang mat dispatch pun dah tak ada, yang ada cleaner in that office. So typically cleaner lah yang akan tutupkan switch ke, or maybe regulate dia punya air condition so that it doesn't full blast punya aircon. So typically cleaner lah yang akan tolong. So it is also from not only from the top that you need to get your commitment, but also from the laws of the bottom punya organization chart lah. And then you have to the third once you're able to get the commitment, you need to plan and organize action plan in order for you to realize the energy management. And then once you plan and organize for the action, you have to set objective lah. If just plan and buat je tapi tak ada objektif, chances are tak ada hala tuju lah. That means buat and then lepas tu lama-lama lupa what are we trying to do. So if you have a target, if you have an objective, the direction is much more convergence lah. So if you want to achieve the overall energy policy, having a set target objective that channeled all the effort towards that objective will be the chances of success is much more greater lah compared to none. Compared to no objective. Macam kita lah nak diet kan, kita mesti nak target berapa kilogram kita nak achieve, not just nak kurus je tapi tak tahu berapa kilogram. Of course kita nak tahu sebelum and then selepas, we have to have that number. So macam tu lah juga objective and target setting for our energy management. So basically kita boleh anggap the approach of energy management ni is more untuk dietkan our electrical consumption of kita punya office lah or company. So kita nak diet dengan dia. So kena ada number sebelum dan number selepas yang kita nak target. Okay, and then audit of course macam nak diet juga, kita kena naik timbang berat tu, nak tahulah weekly basis turun tak kita punya effort. Based on our effort turun tak berat kita. So kalau tak turun, okay, next week ubah next repetition ke or maybe tambah exercise lain ke, and then tengok pula next week. So that is kind of audit lah. The same thing goes here. We have to audit our progress so that we know we are going into that direction. So this also falls under energy manager punya scopes, right? And then control and monitoring, after you have achieved that target, takkanlah kita nak terus makan McD, KFC, all the cheesy bits semua tu after dah kita dah cecah. Let's say lah, perempuan, I don't know what's the height is, tapi saya suka dengar, saya selalu dengar nombor 56 ni, 56 kilogram. So katalah you guys have achieved that 56 kilogram, takkan nak terus pergi Jolly Katak makan apa cheesy pizza apa semua tu kan, mestilah kalau dah makan pun, of course we have to control our 56 kilogram tu. Maybe next year apa pula action plan kita. So katalah overshoot sampai 64 kilogram. So the same things lah, kalau kita dah berjaya achieve that target for that organisation of energy management, we have to continuously control and monitor our energy consumption so that kita maintain slim, maintain fit, for example. So the same thing goes here. So everything here being defined as pillar, and there are 6 of them which falls under energy management scopes. So energy manager is the person who drive, implement and ensure a logical and coherent link between the 6 pillars. Maksudnya kat sini, okay, these are the 6 pillars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All the boxes in 6 ni is actually termasuk ini. All the 6 pillars ni, kita as an energy manager have to make sure there's a linkage lah. Maksudnya ni bukan ni 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yang this one is just the energy management scopes lah. So there's a flow, maksudnya daripada policy turun ke from the policy we go down to the commitment, link to the objective or an organization, and then implementation, and then audit, and then control and monitoring continuously. So then, only then will this be considered as continuous, sustainable, and of course, at the end of it, resulted in improved profitability of the organization. And and if let's say lah, you're the owner of the company, try lah as your best. Sebab energy manager dapat achieve that target, bagilah bonus sikit lah dekat tu, so that dia semangat sikit nak kejar that objective. It is not stated there, but for me lah, apa salahnya, sebab you have already saved significantly on your electricity bill. Because remember, you have to do energy management as instructed by Suruhanjaya Tenaga if your company is not volunteering. So chances are you have been given a notice by Suruhanjaya Tenaga because you have consumed electricity bill more than 3 million megawatt kan. Kita tengok last chapters. So that means your electricity bill is at least 100,000 punya bills RM per monthly. So apa salahnya setakat bagi 2-3 ribu ke bonus to the energy manager because of he or she's punya effort, continuous effort. Even though ada 5 orang dalam team tu, 5 kali 2 baru kalau katalah if you give them 2,000 bonus as a result of you being able to save 100,000 punya bills. Setakat 10,000 nak bagi kat staff yang tolong you gain that bills punya saving yang memang sebelum ni memang bagi je bayar dekat bill 10B. Now you get that money for your own. So why not bagilah bonus kat dia orang, kasih semangat sikit. Sebab you have to remember this is continuous tau. If they don't have even though you hire them, especially yang this kind of scope ni, yang existing ni, dah lah dia kena buat kerja dia sendiri. And then kena top up pula dengan energy management punya job scope yang memang continuous and boring punya kerja, kena suruh orang. Salahnya bagi bonus kan. So because as a human being, you yourself, if there's no reward, there's no stick, there's no carrot, chances are you won't move your whatever thing that you want to achieve lah kan. So you won't move yourself to achieve that objective. So again, for me, continuous improvement must also, because the reason why I'm telling you this is there's a big chances you are or you will become an owner of a company one day, considering you guys are the business graduates punya school. So there is a big chances lah korang akan jadi bosses. So why not consider human capital juga lah. And then we go deeper into each of the pillar. So what does it mean by having an energy management policy? So as an energy manager, okay, first kita baca dulu lah. Many managers find that their energy management program lose momentum once after the initial efforts and activities. And therefore, if there is no sense of direction, chances are all the effort will be, caca merbah lah. And therefore, that is why to be successful, the objective and policies of each of the departments, especially for energy management program yang involve various departments, not just one machine, then energy management policy is almost critical in your success or fail because each department will have different sets of objective or target that they want to achieve. So if there is no policy that you introduce as a whole, chances are it will be direction bersepah lah and end up serabut lah. So in that sense, to be successful, the objectives and policies of different departments within an organization must be defined accordingly to overall organization's energy policy. Therefore, energy manager is the key person to formulate the energy policy statement. Even though I personally, when I worked back in 2010, in 2008 in engineering, in Sandarbi engineering, I noticed there's a lot of template yang ditampal kat dinding tu, notification on energy on company policy. So yeah, personally saya nampak saya buat tak tahu je, tapi at the very least that kind of policy actually makes me feel that this is a well established company lah. Maksudnya jangan suka-suka lah nak buat your own rule ke apa, because all the energy policy statement has been all the policy has been tampal, and kalau ada anything goes wrong, you can be faulted lah sebab everything has been notified due to the policy being tampal. So yeah, at the very least all the lower bracket punya staff will know lah what is your company punya direction that they want to go. But for me personally, tak baca pun. But of course, if there is an audit, that energy policy statement dah lepas lah for the company. Ingat, saya cakap last class, I think. In a company sebenarnya, it's not because of when you grow older lah, as you notice, It's not because of how much contribution you would give to the company. I noticed this when I was working. It's more on who can you blame. So company will typically blame all the workers lah kan. So having an energy policy statement being tampal at every bucu of your organizations allows you as an energy manager to cakap lah, okay, saya dah buat saya punya apa tasks, my job scope. So kalau dia buat salah ke apa ke, it's not my fault. I'm not saying that's a good policy to observe, but that is how naturally manusia lah, not just Malaysian but manusia. Who to blame? So in order for you not to be blamed, buatlah policy ni. Konon-konon on paper dia kata direction, but yeah, in a way yeah. So as an energy manager, an energy management policy is a must, and you as the energy manager has to strategize or draft up and then get approval from the top management so that it becomes the orang kata the main policy yang orang kena refer lah from then moving on. Okay, so energy managers should seek and reach consensus among concerned parties. So for you to come up with a policy, tak boleh sembrono seorang-seorang seronok. Okay, company nak achieve 80% energy reduction this year alone. When it is not possible, given that maybe for example your production line needs to produce certain amount of production, given sales punya tu berjaya dapat dapat buat sale, dapat buat business yang tiba-tiba tahun tu increase lah. Macam contoh tahun lepas 2020 Top Glove, if you recall, saham dia naik gila-gila, production ni sampai tak cukup nak meet the demand because of COVID. So katakanlah you become that energy manager in Top Glove tu, suka-suka je kata nak reduce 80%, padahal time tu demand tengah tinggi, you have to, the production needs to churn out almost 200% punya increase sebab semua orang nak pakai sarung tangan or whatever else, glove punya rubber punya application, tayar ke apa ke. So tiba-tiba because you lose touch with the production team, sedar-sedar you dapat top management pun biasalah, bos-bos ni dia tahu profit dia tengok ada sale lah, ni management ni boleh dapat untung juga, okay lah, sign je lah. Lepas tu dah clash dengan semua orang. Tak boleh you have to be real you have to get consensus daripada semua concerned parties. So if you want to save electrical energy, the things yang you have to, the parties that you have to observe are the production, those yang pakai energy consumption yang typically building office lah. Tapi tak payahlah minta konsensus apa yang kutip sampah apa semua, sebab chances are there will be outsourced. So lantaklah dia orang nak buat apa pun. But just know that maybe after everything has been implemented, then train dia orang lah untuk tutup switch ke, or turunkan aircon punya remote control tu maybe to a acceptable level lah, sebab tak payah nak sejuk sangat. Ada seorang dua orang je cleaner dalam office tu, what for you full blast aircon kan. So the first thing when you do when you want to draft an energy policy, get a consensus. Consensus ni maksudnya persetujuan lah. Maybe ada yang tak agree this certain part, but they agree on certain part. Then consider okay lah. At least they know the part yang they agree, what they could do, or what the objective that they could maneuver through that. So get consensus among all parties. Tak boleh sembrono je buat policy. And then the organization energy policy will be presented and submitted to top management. This one is critical. If your top management cakap dia tak tahu pun pasal policy ni, then you are in deep trouble. Because if audit comes and top management cakap tak tahu, it shows that you as an energy manager fail to get approval. So in order for you to overcome this, dapatkanlah signature diorang. Kalau diorang kata diorang tak tahu pun, ni ada signature, apa hal pula. Again, remember growing up is not about how you perform on your job. It's about avoiding guilt, avoiding blame. This is not me. This is what I observe. Maybe in your future, in your lifetime, maybe it's different. But this is what I see when I grew up in a corporate life back then. And as a lecturer pun sama je sebenarnya. Who to blame? So avoid you being blamed lah. Finally, the energy manager will ensure that the energy policy and activities are effectively communicated and promoted. I know personally from my own based on my own experience, anything yang top management inform, everything will take heart. Tapi yang macam sub manager level ni selalunya diorang dengar tak dengar je lah, acuh tak acuh je lah. Unless of course kacau gaji diorang ke, kacau workflow diorang ke, then yes. So most probably this will be the one that will interfere with their workflow lah. So that said, it has to be announced, it has to be communicated, promoted, and make sure that everyone knows this comes from the top management, bukan you suka-suka dia buat. Okay. And then kita look into pillar 2, which is getting the commitment. So energy manager must make sure that the whole organization is taking sustainable energy management program seriously. Meaning ini bukan pet project your boss and semua orang cakap alah tak payah buat lah, tak payah buat lah. No. This is serious because it impacts the profitability of the company. Once that has been achieved, there is a possibility that once the company earn more, saves more from their electricity bill, there are big chances that you'll get a bonus or something like that. Kita tak cakap lah kan, tapi adalah possibility kalau bos tu baik. And typically this will be true for small or medium to small scale company lah, because selalu medium and small scale ni bos dia tak adalah nak besar kepala sangat, because everything is almost apa nama small scale, bukan small scale, macam family size lah. So typically bonus pun dia akan selalu bagi. Selalu saya dengar benda ni, tapi kalau corporate level macam yang company besar-besar, a bit susah lah nak dengar dia nak bagi bonus semua ni kalau apa nama dapat savekan profit for the company, but who knows. Okay, and then in this respect, the actual and visible commitment to the energy policy from the top management, senior managers and manager is vital. So that means not only the top management has to show that they are committed, there has to be a visual and actual action from the top management to show. Therefore, sebab itulah datangnya policy tadi tu. Yang mana the owner or the top management akan sign at the bottom of the policy to show that this is being enforced in your company. So you have something solid to rely on if you want to take effective action in energy management in your company. So therefore, the energy manager shall make all concerned parties realize that their commitment will significantly benefit the organization. Therefore, kat sinilah communication skill you come up to show that, for example, observing commitment in energy management would result in money and cents, not just good well-being ke rasa seronok-seronok buat baik ke, no. It comes with money and cents. And when you're talking about money and cents, chances are your top management will ni lah, dengar lah, perks lah dalam telinga. Dia orang tu je. Tak ada nak fikir bagus untuk awak sangat ke, no. It's more on profits. And therefore, it will be consistent with their business strategy and also the goods service delivery of goods and whatnot. So therefore, getting the commitment from chairman, CEO, the board of directors to improve is a key factor towards success, and that's why it is put under pillar 2, the second most step that you need to do once you set up the energy management and you want to achieve energy management program in your company. Okay, and then the commitment and active involvement and of other lower ranking staff is also essential, because typically they are the one who would actually do the work. Not your boss, not your CEO, but the end worker tu yang akan actually tutup buka switch your production production punya machine ke apa yang consume that much of electricity tu. So getting their commitment is again also critical. Therefore, one of the key responsibilities of the key energy manager is to get commitment from all the stakeholders in that organization, not just the top management. It is important, top management, but also all the stakeholders lah, even the cleaner pun sebenarnya, you tak perlu commitment from the cleaner, but if they have the training, it will contribute jugalah to your electricity bill. Okay, approach that can be applied in order to get their commitment. Again, kalau top management, typically one-to-one discussion or meetings lah. And then information campaign, group discussion, training, and also posters and leaflets. So I was advised back then when I joined the Green Tech punya kursus tu, if let's say one day I'll be appointed as energy manager, they advised for me to set up a booth at the corner of your organization somewhere so that people can come in and read all the posters and leaflets to let them know, for them to learn about energy management. I would say typically that would not be that much effective as compared to sending email from top management. But at the very least, that is also an effort lah, yang all the energy manager can do with minimal cost. And then energy managers shall demonstrate the benefit of sustainable energy management and explain approach adopted to achieve the expected energy efficiency improvement. Okay, first and foremost, it's not me who did this slide. So there's a lot of words there. It may be critical, but to me, I guess it's much better if they boleh buat point. But again, I try to elaborate. What it means is that at the end of it, you have to show ringgit and cents lah. Basically, what it's trying to say, what is the benefit? Not only on the impact of society, not impact on the environment, but the main concern yang orang nak dengar is ringgit and cents. Trust me, I've been there. I've been trying to present the one that we've installed in UI10 Terengganu. If you see at the car park there, there's a solar panel installed in front of the Interlab parking lot. That one I was involved in at the stage of permohonan tu, trying to get approval from rector. Cakap pasal environment ke, cakap pasal dapat teduhkan kereta ke, dapat kurangkan electricity consumption ke, dia tak nak dengar. Sebab rector is business back then. Sekarang dah prof, saya lupa nama dia. Yang rector sebelum ni lah, prof but business tak nak dengar improvement daripada segi ekonomi, electricity bill tak dengar. Bila saya cakap pasal profit dapat save, terus. I guess that's business punya graduate lah kot. I can't prove it, but memang dia banyak dengar, kalau nak cakap projek dengan dia, memang kena dengar ringgit and cents lah. So, as an energy manager, you have to think, I guess you guys pun memang graduate business, so kena tunjuk business punya point of view lah, which is ringgit and cents. Typically, all the business owner pun memang nampak ringgit and cents kan. So, show to them, these are the benefit. The first thing, put in your benefit, ringgit and cents. Second, use less. That means the longevity of the item that you're trying to use will also be last longer. So you don't have to do periodical ataupun quarterly punya changes of light bulb ke apa ke, sebab kita jarang pakai sangat, so dia tak operate sangat, typically lama lagi lah dia punya tahan. And also electricity impact on society, that means kurang electricity kita nak pakai, lagi banyak lebihan, so orang lain pun boleh pakai lah that kind of electricity rather than solely dedicated to us. And finally, impact on the environment, which is lagi banyak kurang, the lesser we use electricity, the lesser TNB has to provide to us the electricity, the lesser IPP ataupun energy provider has to burn fuel or coal or whatever to produce that electricity from their generator. So that means, bila kurang bakar gas, kurang bakar coal, kuranglah asap. Kuranglah kotor kita punya environment dekat our environment lah basically. Sebab ingat nak join in Malaysia, if you recall a few slides back, chapter 1, I mentioned to generate electricity, typically the main contributor are coal and gas. So in order for them to produce electricity, coal dengan gas ni, you have to burn them. And when you burn them, typically ada carbon monoxide lah. So harmful gases, which at the end impact ozone. Nampak kaitan dia tu? So if you did some digging, there's this thing called butterfly effect. Even kita gerakkan pen dekat atas meja pun ada result somewhere, somehow akan contribute to the world punya apa ni, dia punya teori tu lah cakap kita gerakkan pen je. Ataupun kita buang, kita tepuk nyamuk dekat kita punya tangan pun actually ada impact dia dekat whole organ ecosystem. So butterfly effect. So jangan pandang rendah lah whatever action that you're taken. Buang sampah tepi pantai. Dengar macam typical lah orang semua buang sampah tepi. Even sekarang pun saya pergi pantai tu, even though dah ada uh, at Pantai Sura tu, saya dah cakap bahasa Melayu dah. At Pantai Sura, just in front of us, I noticed that there are few garbage can Majlis Perbandaran City Council has put there compared to last year. I think there's a lot more garbage can there. But still, I can find garbage on tepi-tepi pantai tu lah. So jangan pandang rendah keburukan buang sampah tu. Even though I smoke, I have to admit I smoke. And when I smoke, I try as best as possible to go near to the dustbin so that when I put out my cigarette butts, I put it in the garbage. Tapi even though garbage can ada tepi tu, I notice keliling garbage can tu penuh cigarette butt. Ataupun depan-depan sikit penuh cigarette butt. So, I don't know the mentality of ni lah. I agree that smoker pengotor lah. Kami smoker ni dah lah busuk pengotor. Tapi at the very least buanglah cigarette butt tu at the proper place. Macam saya dalam kereta pun kalau saya isap rokok, saya try as best as I could to put it out and tunggu dah jumpa sampah baru buang cigarette butt. So benda simple je tapi ramai yang tak nak buat. So end up bila kita pergi pantai Sura yang cantik tu, now penuh sampah. And macam hari tu masuk news, pergi sungai and now ada kecil tikus pula. Sebab apa? Buang sampah tu lah. And then marah orang. Padahal sendiri yang buang sampah. Okay, okay, the energy manager shall demonstrate. Okay, tadi tu dah cakap. Therefore, he or she shall prepare effective and clear illustrations of the business benefits that energy efficiency can bring. Again lah, ni melibatkan wang ringgit and cents. And then the next pillar, which is the third pillar, planning, organizing, objective, and target setting. Okay, after you have set up the policy, after you've got the commitment from top management, also the all parties involved, next is to plan the action and organize the action to be taken, as well as to set the objective and target. And this target, energy manager shall coordinate each part. Bukan energy manager personally yang buat every single department punya target. Because energy manager chances are will not, if let's say lah, energy manager is from the plant department, the plant processing punya, I mean the one that operate the machine. How can that manager know whatever the workload is being done in HR or accounting? They won't know. Kalau tahu, tak bergaduh lah between department. Now, sebab dia tak tahu, so how can he or she set up a proper setup of target that of energy management that the HR or accounting department need to achieve? Tak logik lah kan? So therefore, energy manager, him or herself, just coordinate, not do it, but just coordinate. Okay, you do this, do this, do this, and after you've done it, okay, what's next, and what's next. And in order for you to do that, you have to double check with this department. So that energy manager is the one who coordinate and supervise each part of the organization to achieve their own objective and target. So regardless lah your energy manager to HR, from HR department ke, from production department ke, they can be the active part that organize and supervise the objective and target of the other department. But to set it on your to set the target itself has to depends on the department head lah. Themselves department head tu yang respective department tu lah. Targets are detailed performance requirement, often quantitative but also qualitative. When for those yang tak biasa dengar ayat qualitative ni, quantitative is numbers, qualitative is feelings or assumptions or maybe words lah. kemas tak kemas, apa, habuk tak berhabuk. Sebab you tak boleh nak bagi numbers on that particular characteristic quality. Whereby kalau quantitative, this room is 26 degrees Celsius. This room is 32 degrees Celsius. The temperature, the electrical consumption is 200 kilowatt hours. So call it quantitative, a number, whereby qualitative is expression or emotion or words lah. So therefore, the targets can be achieved via quantitative. Often it's quantitative, meaning you want to reduce this electrical energy to maybe 100 kilowatt hour, reduce 100 kilowatt hours from previously last month is 1,600 kilowatt hours. Now you want to reduce 100 kilowatt hours. So the next month you expect to achieve the electricity consumption to be around 1,500 kilowatt hours only. So that's quantitative. Qualitative, the room is bright, but we can reduce the brightness by turning off one or two lamps so that the brightness, I mean, it's still bright, but not too bright, and therefore still operatable. We can still see our paper, read our papers and whatnot, but we use less energy. So that is qualitative. Maybe turn on two lamps instead of turning on five lamps at once. Only two lamps is being turned, or maybe one or two fans being turned off because we have now opened our window to allow uh, natural cooling in that office building, for example. So that is qualitative. You can't feel how much cool is it because there's no temperature because you're using fan, but just because you open the window, and now natural air comes in, and yeah, it's still cool and or not hot lah. So that's qualitative. So target has to be realistic, meaningful, and achievable under normal operating circumstances because you want this to be done in continuous form. So it has to be measured under normal operating circumstances lah. Bukan time, memang time tu macam MCO last year, tak ada orang ke office. Then tiba-tiba you set target that particular, to achieve that particular energy consumption because tak ada orang ke office. Tiba-tiba this year semua orang dah boleh masuk office, your target has been apa ni lah, habis lah, kacau lah target you. Sebab orang dah masuk office, aircon dah buka, lampu semua dah buka. So tak logik lah kan. So it has to be realistic and achievable and meaningful under normal operating circumstances. Okay, so for quantitative, you can express it in terms of megajoule per piece, megajoule per ton, kilowatt hours, and whatnot. And once objectives, that's for quantitative. Once objective and target has been set, energy manager and the team shall assist the concerned department to prepare detailed action plans. And like I said, not the energy manager themselves yang buat energy plan tu, but the department that being targeted lah. Kalau HR, accounting, apa nama? Yang post, kalau saya tengok selalu Hollywood tu dia ada department yang post semua tu. So saya tak tahu lah that much of department. Saya tahu back then when I was working, my department, engineering department, HR, accounting, ada pun lawyer, law department. Tapi law tu typically company besar lah, jarang company kecil ada law department dalam their own organisation. Okay, the energy manager will then regularly monitor and track progress. Kat sini datang energy manager. Once, nampak kan banyak kerja dia, daripada policy, get commitment, set up target plan, and then once you have organized that target plan yang each department kena buat tu, now you have monitor pula regularly to track the progress of each action plan. Bukan maksudnya that department kata, okay, saya nak buat ni, saya buat ni, lepas tu energy manager tunggu je sampai end of the month, tengok bila PO tak achieve, tak boleh. You have to also monitor that action plan that they set, the target that they want to achieve. So on a day-to-day basis. So therefore, in order for you to monitor effectively, you have to establish procedures lah to monitor and have key people monitor them. That means not only you yourself, sebab you have to remember for those energy manager yang buat kerja lain, dia kena buat juga kerja lain tu. Not only focus on energy management project saja. So you have to have a key people lah not just you yourself to monitor all the department. Ada team, you have to appoint somebody from that department to monitor betul tak dia kata ni. And energy manager must also ensure the preparation of effective action plan that integrate the following, which is agreement approval from appropriate level of line management. Sebab selalunya bos-bos ni kadang-kadang biasalah dia demand macam-macam tapi dia tak realise practicality of the target. So that's why mana yang dia kata dia nak save tu, pergi jumpa that line production, get their agreement and also approval for that target to be approved lah. And then coherence, maksudnya persefahaman between individual objective and the overall energy policy of the organisation. Make sure individual itu betul lah tally dengan, let's say for your company you want to reduce energy consumption by 30%. Yang individual tu kata, each department tu kata dia nak buat hanya 10% saja. Or maybe 1 or 2% only because dia tak nak kerja banyak. So tak tally lah dengan company punya energy policy. So you have to get back to them lah to show other kind to come up for them to come up with other kind of solution or target to be achieved. And then assign specific action to individual with clear deadlines. Of course, bila kita tak ada deadline, saya personally, when I don't have a deadline, I'll just leave it to the end of days lah. Maksudnya dah nak hujung-hujung tu baru nak buat betul-betul. Drama kalau boleh nak menangis-nangis tu time submit project tu. So sukalah tunggu-tunggu lengah-lengah tu. Biasalah manusia. And then indication of the person responsible for monitoring, approving the action when it has successfully been completed. So siapa yang approve, so you have to appoint lah the person. I mean, the person who monitors and approve and the person who do the action must be a different person. Cannot be the same because then yang buat tu cakap dia dah buat tapi dia sendiri approve. Memang sebenarnya kerja tu tak buat lah, confirm manusia kan. So manusia memang bukan Melayu malas. It's not macam Tun M cakap Melayu malas. No, it's not Melayu yang malas. This study has been done by even professors from Israel. Dia Nobel laureate, maknanya dia pemenang Nobel. Nobel apa yang scientific punya tu based on psychology. If for those yang rajin baca buku self improvement, try to look for the book name. Mana buku tu saya tak bawa kat sini kot. Ada kat rumah saya. Apa dah nama? Nanti maybe I share later lah. Tapi that Israel professors shows memang ni bukan 1 year punya studies. Daripada 1960s lagi dia buat psychological test ni. Manusia memang ada 2 sistem. Even nature lah sebenarnya. Ada 2 sistem. Sistem satu, kita nak cepat. Kita suka, sistem satu ni suka buat rumusan. Every single thing, decision making, dia akan keluar dulu. Dia akan bersuara dulu. Dia akan point out ni dulu. Tapi sebenarnya dia selalu salah. Sistem 2 ni yang betul-betul analytic. The logics, the mathematics. Yang susah-susah semua yang sistem 2. Typically manusia akan go to system 1. So and benda ni kita boleh observe dekat nature juga. For electrical engineering, for me, myself, I can tell you this. If you have a circuit, electricity, dia kena ada source, dia kena macam, you can imagine air lah. Daripada puncak gunung tu, mengalir turun bawah sampai ke lembah. Dan lembah tu kami panggil ground lah. Whereby the puncak tu kita panggil source, voltage source. So elektrik mengalir, kalau ada 2 cabang, and the first cabang tu ada halangan, we call it resistance, yang tak nak cerita kat korang pun mostly korang tak faham kot, tapi bayangkan sungai tu ada kayu tengah-tengah tu, and lagi satu cabang tu clear. Air will typically go to the cabang yang clear lah, yang ini akan bertakung. Sama juga macam manusia. Kalau ada kedai awak nak keluar rumah, kedai sebelah sana jauh sikit, kedai sebelah sini dekat, tapi kedai dekat ni maybe ada majlis kenduri kahwin ke apa ke, kita sanggup jalan jauh sikit. Sebab clear. Tu manusia. So bukan Melayu malas, bukan Jangan percayalah cakap orang kata Melayu malas ke apa ke. Dia bergantung pada motivation kita. If ada banyak halangan dekat motivation, chances are malaslah kita. So try as best as you could. If you moving forward, okay, ni saya dah merepek ni, tapi I think it's good juga kita saya share. Sebab saya baca sikit lah buku tu, tak habis. Susah betul nak baca buku tu because it's more on psychological and I'm more of a, kalau tak ringgit in sense, I'm more of a logical person lah. So bila bercakap pasal psychological ni nak baca, ya Allah berat tu. For those yang work nak buku tu, nantilah saya check balik kod saya dia. Saya pun tak ingat mana. Sebab buku tu saya baca setengah je. Susah betul nak habiskan. But it's a good book lah. For you to realise, because you have to know if you want to solve a problem, the first thing you have to realise is to understand the problem. Where does it come from? So macam awak rasa awak malas ke apa, tak fokus ke apa ke, mana datang that problem tu. Once you identify that, then only can you quantify that. And once you can quantify that, then you can solve that lah. So the same thing goes with planning, organizing ni. Saya dah merepek jauh ni, tapi apa benda yang saya nak cerita tadi? Deadline. Tak ada deadline. Apa bukan deadline? Indication of the person responsible tu. Apa tiba-tiba saya cakap pasal deadline? Sorry, saya dah bersepah-sepah lah sebab cakap Melayu malas tadi. But basically, you have to appoint a different person who approve and the one who do the action lah. Because later on, kalau dia yang buat kerja, dia yang approve, then kerja tu takkan buat lah. Tapi approval datang di tiap hari. So conflict of interest. And then allocation of appropriate budget and human resource. The work cannot be done. Bos awak suruh, let's say for example, awak as a owner, awak suruh awak punya staff buat energy management program, tapi awak tak bagi, bila time dia datang nak minta duit untuk allocate overtime ke, untuk appoint somebody operate instead of, macam saya, for those yang recall, last class, saya cerita pasal macam mana nak kira bil api tu kan. If you recall, there's a maximum demand period during peak hours tu. So rather than that person work during peak hours, kita nak machine to work during non-peak hours, maybe tengah malam ke, so that electrical energy tu dia boleh consume banyak sikit sebab bila operate malam, bill dia murah sikit, for example. So kena bayar overtime lah. So if you are a business owner tak nak bayar overtime tu, then ready lah bayar bil api mahal-mahal. So and therefore tak achieve lah your energy management program. So appropriate budget lah. So of course if that is the target lah, if you want to operate instead of peak hours, you want to operate during non-peak hours after 6 ke. So you boleh significantly, after done some calculation, you found out that you can reduce almost half of your electricity bill, which is around 100,000 punya bills. Tapi disebabkan nak kena kerja malam, pantang dengan overtime tu, tak nak bagi. Padahal bayar overtime baru berapa ribu je sebulan. And you are able to save 100,000 per month. Why not bayar that person yang kerja overtime tu? Right. Biasalah business owner tak suka dengan bab overtime ni. But if you have to be objective, I mean as an energy manager, you have to, macam cakap tadi lah, you have to communicate properly with effectively with the top management to show that we are doing something that you don't like, which is paying overtime. But in order for you, if you do this, you'll be able to save 100,000 per month. And then typically your bosses will, okay lah, boleh lah. Okay, motivation. Okay, and not only that, you have to also get the approval for human resource punya allocation lah. So tak boleh lah nak expect one person only to operate the whole equipment daripada pagi sampai malam kan. Dia pun nak tidur, dia pun nak jumpa family dia pun nak keluar dating juga. So kena ada shift lah. So that means kena ada at least 2 or 3 person operating the machine. Therefore, as an energy manager, you have to make sure that allocation of the appropriate budget and human resource are obtained from the top management. Okay, kita continue pillar 4 before kita take a break. Okay, so implementing action plans is depending on all concerned parties, not only the energy manager, but the energy manager must be the person who in charge of coordinate, monitor, problem solving. If there are, I mean, when it says problem solving, it's not specific to the each department punya technical issues. For example, machine rosak, or maybe machine tu tak efficient problem dia. So macam mana nak operate so that they are efficient. So may not falls under energy manager, but problem solving is more on if there is a problem, find you as an energy manager should the one who find someone who can solve it at the very least. If you can't solve it on your own, you find someone else. And conduct needs assessment and organize appropriate training. So this one training lah basically, and auditing comes from auditing and training later on. But the energy manager is the one responsible for this. And then for the sustainable energy management system to be successful, the energy manager shall ensure that the needs and interests of everyone involved are being addressed. Sebab kalau one or two person tak dapat budget ke, for example, or the resource person yang nak buat ke, then chances are target dia tak akan achieve sampai bila-bila lah. Nah, kalau tak nanti kena pergi training apa semua kan. So that is what it means there lah. Therefore, to make sure that all the action plans are being observed, regular meetings should be organized to closely monitor the implementation of the action plan. And energy manager must ensure that each line manager understand the barriers to implement and work with them to create appropriate solution, target, and incentive measures. So, the one who did it, who do the work to maybe operate the plant, maybe operate the machine, must, and also the manager involved in that line management must understand the barriers lah. Maksudnya kalau katalah kita nak set 40% energy saving for that month, tapi tiba-tiba macam saya cakap tadi, sale tinggi, so macam tak logik lah, sebab bila sales tinggi, demand tinggi, so your machine kena work harder. Takkan awak nak tutup machine tu semata-mata nak realize energy consumption, reduce energy consumption of 40%. Mesti you nak increase kan, sebab profit kan. Even though boleh dapat profit pun from saving the electricity bill, but you still need to have that active money to pay the salary of the workers. So of course kena dapatkan daripada sales. So there's a barriers lah. Tak boleh simply buat that month maybe kita apalah kita tangguh next month pula buat energy saving 40%. Or maybe just instead of 40%, reduce it maybe 10% due to the demand by operating during not peak hours, during non-peak hours, so that electricity bill kurang. So bayarlah. Sebab sekarang dah ada profit from sales, and now you're able to save electricity bill because you operate during non-peak hours. So bayar je lah. Apa nama? Seboleh-bolehnya bayar lah. Apa nama? Claim. Apa nama? Otak saya pun dah bersepah otak saya ni. Biasalah saya ni. And then overcome lah that kan by bayar lah, basically bayar je lah. Apa kalau nak bayar operate lah apa. Oh apa tadi saya ayat dia tu? Overtime. Bayar je lah overtime ke apa bonus ke apa ke, so to give incentive and also be able to achieve the target. Okay, so tak saya belum mengipik ni. Give me 10 minutes maybe to chill a bit, and then we continue from there in about 3:40 lah sama cerita. Okay, we'll take a break 10 minutes. 3:40 we'll continue. Thank you. Okay, can we continue? We have maybe just a few more slides, so the faster we start, the sooner we'll end our class today lah. Okay, I'm seeing a few of you turn on the camera. So yeah, okay, so we'll start. So we'll continue with pillar 5, which is conducting system audit. So once you have once you have implemented the action plan, then you need to audit lah to make sure that the action plan is in line with the target that has been set and also the overall energy management commitment in your organization policy. And therefore, the energy manager will create the process of auditing, and therefore must have an internal audit team that again being set up by the energy manager to ensure all aspects of energy management, sustainability, and performance are quantified. First, again, in order for you to solve a problem, you need to have a number, you need to know the current status. Therefore, it's why the performance are being quantified. And then also to make sure that not only numbers, but also the laws are being adhered to. So any kind of laws, regulations, statement, objective, and targets being considered and being put into the audit process. And the energy manager will be the person who gathers relevant information and feedback from the audit activities. So all the auditing activities must be organized, must be reported back to the energy manager in to make sure that all the relevant key parameters are, tak bersepah lah direction. Sebab ada single person or maybe one committee saja yang they need to report to. So kalau banyak sangat orang nanti kan ni nak macam ni, yang ni nak macam ni. So it's best that everything will be moving forward. The energy manager is the one who tasks them forward, and then once you have the feedback, return it back to the energy manager so that everything is in line and properly direction is proper. And then continuing, control, monitoring, and system audits are essential tools. So kena ada tools untuk monitor, control, and audit to help him or her review and improve the energy management system sustainability for policy and planning to implementation. It is advised here by AMAS, which is to sorry, not AMAS but Green Tech lah, Suruhanjaya Tenaga and Green Tech through their Green Tech technology, that external audit should be conducted once a year to evaluate the performance of the energy management system. So if you understand that statement correctly, there are two audit. The first being internal, being done by the internal energy management team. The second one, external audit. So this one you have to hire somebody that has again the same energy management program, but from authorized by Green Tech, for them to come to the organization to make sure that all the reportings are correct. There's no hanky-panky or false reporting or false audit being done there. So only then will ST Suruhanjaya Tenaga accept your reporting, and therefore you have to understand external audit is mandatory lah. But only once a year because Suruhanjaya Tenaga also notice lah nak upah external audit ni chances are you have to pay. You have to have capital lah kan. So kalau selalu sangat nanti kan rugilah company. So they only ask you to do it once a year lah at least. Okay, and then the last pillar, which is control and monitoring, to make sure that all the action plan, all the target plan, all the policy has been continuously improved and also observed. So you have to control and monitor. You have to energy manager to have to come up with a control and monitoring action plan lah. So it can be assessed through these steps, and based on system audits, the energy manager is the person who create or helps create appropriate monitoring and targeting tools. So again, energy manager involved lagi. From top to the bottom, the work is not being, it's not ended lah. I mean, kerja tak pernah habis lah. So, and procedure as effective reporting system and procedures. To be effective, the energy manager must be given the appropriate authority to enforce the implementation of the action plan. So again, uh, each department have their own action plan. So there must be one authority that supposedly is the one also being doing the audit process lah. So the one that do typically lah, the one that did the what you call that audit process, typically will also be the one who becomes the authority to enforce implementation. Or it can be a different person, but because it depends on the size of your organization juga. Kalau kecil, typically it will be the same person, but if it's bigger and maybe dia punya personal pun ramai, so boleh lah 2-3 orang, it's up to you lah. But what you can conclude here is that not only you have to have an action plan being implemented by the person doing it, you need to also appoint somebody to do the process or the auditing process. And if let's say the audit process is being done by a different department, then there must be one person that is responsible, or maybe that has the authority to make sure that everyone follows the target plan. With typically the boss of that department lah. So dia lah ada authority paling tinggi. Okay, and then system audits generate valuable feedback on the implementation, whether it is improved or no effect at all towards the sustainable energy management system. And energy manager shall be the person who regularly reports the outcome of all the action plan being done in all the department to management meetings and board of director meetings lah, to let them know the action is still being done and it's still being done and still improving, or maybe is already about to achieve the target or has already achieved the target. So that in that way, everyone stay motivated. Okay. Okay, once the continual and regular implementation of the audit system is in place, the energy management system is self-sustainable energy management system, which can then lead to reduced energy costs and directly improve the profitability of the organization. That is basically the closing words on each of the pillars. Okay, and then for us for me, I am an energy manager, but maybe in the future you guys are too. So as a code of practice for us all is to that, okay, basically this code of practice is to make sure that all the wheels are greased accordingly, maksudnya tak ada halangan lah dalam our work as an energy manager in the organization. So these are the recommended code of practice. It's not enforced, nobody will saman ke apa ke, no, but this is more like a guidance for energy manager to make sure that each energy management program is being done with less hiccup lah. Maksudnya focus more on technical, not so much on emotional issues of each of the department. So energy manager, based on this code of practice, energy manager should be the one who lead and drive the implementation by observing continuous improvement and sustainability. They need to formulate the best effective energy management policy through consultation with all stakeholders from top to the bottom. Sorry. Energy manager shall also get the commitment from top management down to the engineers and technicians during formulation of action plan or target settings. And then energy manager shall also supervise the preparation of each departmental target setting and action plan to make sure that each department are in coherence with each other and also with the demand of the other department to make sure that everything falls into places. To coordinate, supervise, and monitor the implementation of action plan, an energy manager shall create audit process, shall establish effective reporting system, because there's no point of auditing if at the end of the day the audit report just being chucked inside the maybe the file cabinet dia tapi tak ada siapa tengok kan. So reporting system kena ada, and then during all these tasks, all the progress is being done, you have to also identify any kind of opportunities to use energy that comes from renewable lah kalau boleh, and clean energy. Air ke, udara ke, or solar ke. So if there is a chance for you to, maybe let's say for example, you found out that boleh dapat instead of, sebab bangunan tinggi, office building tu tinggi, so rather than tutup semua pakai apa, pakai tingkap yang cermin yang tak boleh buka langsung, now tukar pada yang boleh buka, so that maybe time tak hujan, maybe time musim yang tak berapa panas ke tak berapa sejuk ke, boleh buka to let in natural uh, air cooling, so tak perlu buka aircon sangat. So you are the one who will be responsible to identify any kind of opportunities to get energy from that kind of source. And then finally, not finally, no, finally again, for the recommended core practice, try to avoid any kind of apa nama, hanky-panky punya business lah, I would say, ayat pasar dia. Jangan, ni typically saya jumpa lah dekat industri. Even though dia orang sibuk kata orang kerja government ni makan rasuah dia kerja dia. No, it's not just government servant actually. Even private sector pun banyak buat. You have to imagine lah, if apa, tepuk sebelah tangan tak berbunyi kan. So saya personally, for now UiTM Dungun, I don't think you'll have any issues with that lah as a lecturer. So supplier tak pernah lagi hantar hamper ke apa kat rumah saya. But I think for those who parents dia bekerja dengan especially jabatan tanah ke, or maybe anything yang perlu approval, at the very least pernah lah nampak hamper sampai rumah. Even though your parents may not be the one who approved it, just the technician or whatever, just the pelaksana. Tapi kadang-kadang mak saya ada juga terima. Mak saya pelaksana, bahagian pelaksana. Tiba-tiba ada hamper. Tak tahu nak datang. So saya cakap lah, kalau dia apa, all the private sector duk cakap orang kerja government ni semua makan rasuah ke apa ke, tepuk sebelah tangan tak berbunyi. So cuma yang private sector ni tak masuk berita sangat lah kan. So sebab tu dengar macam private sector ni baik je semua. But actually no, tepuk sebelah tangan tak bunyi. So therefore, as a code of practice for energy manager, it is advised for you to, I mean nobody is going to enforce this of course, tapi kalau kantoi dengan SPRM, masuk penjara lah. You have to select the suppliers based on impartial basis of energy supplies, energy efficiency equipment, taking into account such as price, availability, source of origin, and reliability of supply. Typically, I would say barang-barang teknologi ni sebut kebanyakannya lah, kalau bukan senjata, typically memang datang daripada Israel lah, yang teknologi yang canggih-canggih ni. So if you consider that as something yang you tak nak buat, then try to apa ni lah, consider the source of origin. But I don't know, the high-end tech memang selalunya Israel lah. Tak Israel, China. The world is being made by China, so you can't run away from that lah. Okay, to carry out the above responsibilities, to carry out the code of practice mentioned above, the energy manager shall at all times take into consideration the result of his or her action on society, the environment, and corporate performance. I think this advice not only goes towards energy management, but also our daily life. Any kind of action that we took, try as best as you could to consider the effect. Not only on yourself, selalunya biasalah manusia pentingkan diri sendiri, akan fikir apa benefit aku buat, apa dapat kalau aku buat benda ni. But try to rise above that. Maksudnya rise above that. Maksudnya fikir not only on yourself but the whole society as a whole, and also environment and corporate performance. Act with high morality, taking due considerations of others' fundamental rights, culture and dignity, not to the point of you kena pijak lah. Tapi of course, ambil juga consideration orang lain. Avoid potential conflict of interest. Let's say, for example, you nak beli solar panel from this company, and turns out company tu ada adik you kerja dalam tu, even though bukan dia yang owner company tu, tapi ada adik dalam tu. So di-advisekan supaya uh, elaklah company tu. Sebab orang boleh petikaikan Again, membesar, when you grow older, you'll notice it's more about how you can avoid being blamed. So that is one of the. In fact, dalam ni pun kalau open tender memang tak boleh. You can be saman if you find out that the contractor or the vendor that you're trying to purchase has somebody related to you. Boleh kena saman. Especially kalau open tender. Of course, implementation dengan paper lain Nanti as you grow older, you tahu lah. And then keep communication open, which includes dealing with management and those involved in the administration of AMAS. Maksudnya open channel, jangan belakang-belakang, jangan behind closed doors. So everyone should know, recorded everything. So if ada issue, naik court ke apa ke ada bukti. And then act with fairness and integrity, follow his or her organization rule of confidentiality and respect intellectual property rights. That one is the last one, but it's not the least one. That one is the one yang boleh menyebabkan you masuk court kalau you don't observe that intellectual properties and also confidentiality of your company. Company boleh sabar-sabar, especially kalau I'm not sure yang iPhone leaks. I think a few years back, kecoh dekat internet about design leaks apa semua. But I think for that issue, that is non-issue lah, because in a way it kind of promotes the next product, not so much on competitors copying their technology, but it kind of free marketing. So if I'm not mistaken, the one who leaked that design tak kena saman rasanya. So depends lah on the confidentiality. Even though dia kata tak boleh bagi tahu, tapi when it becomes an indirect marketing, so you be selamat lah. Tapi kalau memang company kata tak boleh, saya boleh-bolehnya janganlah pergi mengada-ngada, pergi share dengan your kawan on your company electricity bill. Because from there, your kawan, manalah tahu dia kerja dengan competitor you, from electricity bill tu dia boleh tahu how much your company is doing business is okay ke tak, ataupun dia masih lagi competitor ke tak. Sebab kalau dia dah tahu bukan competitor, banyaklah benda-benda yang dia boleh sailang lah. Okay, so that is all for chapter 2. Simple je. And it's more on energy manager punya role and responsibilities. Again, it's a bit boring because there's no, for me lah, as an engineer, I prefer some calculation or whatever, like macam chapter energy pricing tu. Tapi tak boleh elak lah, so, memang subject ni is more on theoretical part, more on drive the subject, responsibilities and apa semua tu. So there's nothing much I can say except membimbing lah seorang-seorang kat depan. Okay. Any questions so far that you want to ask me before we end the session today? No? Okay, so if there are none, then I guess we can end the session today. Again, everything is being recorded. So once I've got the recording